welcome to the Cloud Stories podcast. Today, I'm joined by Peter Lalor, the CEO and Managing Director of BlueRock, a Xero Platinum partner and a cloud integrator. Peter is an experienced director with a demonstrated history of working with entrepreneurial business owners. With a passion for technology and thinking differently, he's a chartered accountant and has started and scaled multiple businesses. Recently, his business BlueRock has been in the media with the news that BlueRock has acquired the WorkflowMax brand and has announced plans for a new job management solution. Hello, Peter, and welcome to the Cloud Stories podcast.
Hello, Heather, and thank you for having me.
We're delighted to have you. So, Peter, how's your week been?
It's been a whirlwind, Heather, as you can imagine, with the news that BlueRock is being part of the WorkflowMax future story. We've had a lot of media coverage, a lot of late nights just getting ourselves ready for what we expected to be a pretty exciting story for the week.
Excellent. So before we get too far into that, can you share with our listeners a bit about your background and the company that you founded, BlueRock?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So BlueRock was started by myself and 7 other accountants back in 2008, and we had a vision around helping our clients do things differently. So entrepreneurial clients are really the space that BlueRock is well known for, and we're very passionate about helping those business owners sort of do everything that they need to do, from general insurance right through to accounting, right through to law, and everything in between, because we know how hard it is to run your own business. And I sort of learned that lesson very early on in my life. When I was about 24, I started a small business, and it's a really tough slog. So a lot of people who work for other people don't understand necessarily how much effort goes into creating a business and running people and helping their clients do what they do. So BlueRock was set up to basically facilitate and help those clients execute on all the things they need to do.
Yeah, I think running a business involves a lot more decisions than you can ever fathom is possible.
Absolutely. No, it does.
So your LinkedIn banner says, "Do things you love with people you care about and good things will happen." And you refer to your team as Blue Rockers. Talk to me about that.
Sure. So we're super passionate about living our best life, and it's a simple mantra, but we think it is meaningful and effective. By doing things you love, so finding something you're passionate about, you'll never work a day in your life. And then by surrounding yourself with people who you genuinely like and care about, the magic starts to happen. And the analogy I make when I'm talking to people about this sort of philosophy is, if you go running every day, you're going to get fit, you're going to get better at running. If you travel the world every day, you're going to learn more about your environment. So by doing something that you really love every day with people you care about, it will naturally just happen. There's actually no other ingredient that you need to be successful.
Yeah, absolutely. And anyone who knows me is I love putting magic and sparkles out into the world.
Yeah,
so
awesome. I love that.
I can completely understand that. So let's talk about the acquisition of the WorkflowMax brand. So How did BlueRock get the opportunity to acquire the WorkflowMax brand, and sort of when did those conversations first start to happen?
Sure. So WorkflowMax, Xero, and BlueRock have sort of been in partnership for a long time, many years, and we were one of the earliest adopters of the Xero platform and a platinum partner today. So we've always had a really deep relationship with Xero and always admired and respected what they've done over the journey. The conversation started a few months ago, and it was really around WorkflowMax and Xero making a decision that they wanted to focus on their core products. And I guess they had let us know that there were a lot of customers in WorkflowMax that they were worried about. They wanted to make sure that they found a good home. So it was a natural sort of evolution for BlueRock to ask the question, is there any way we can help? And the outcome of that question was really coming to an arrangement where we support the next chapter of the WorkflowMax story.
And so you're planning on creating WorkflowMax 2.0. What is, because you don't, as I understand it, you don't actually have a job management solution at the moment. So what is your predicted timeline to get something to the market?
Sure. So because we already have such a great playbook in terms of the existing WorkflowMax product, and the plan is not to deviate from what that solution looks like initially, we feel very confident that we can have a product in market by December, January of this calendar year and next calendar year, around that sort of Christmas time period. We want to test the proposition, and we have a lot of our own customers that are on WorkflowMax already in the early part of that year, so that when Xero does sunset the product in June of 24, BlueRock and WorkflowMax are well positioned to transition those clients across to the new solution. We will be developing a data conversion tool. If you're familiar with JetConvert that Xero used to transfer data into their platform, it'll be something similar to JetConvert, which will allow the existing customers of WorkflowMax to transition seamlessly from WorkflowMax 1.0 to WorkflowMax by BlueRock 2.0. And we expect most of the transitions will happen in that first quarter, second quarter of next calendar year. So I call it, February, March through to June. So we have plenty of time. There's 14 months between now and that sunset date, and the actual solution will be ready by Christmas.
So a Christmas present for many people in the industry.
That's right. I mean, WorkflowMax is beloved, so that's the opportunity for us to sort of step up to the plate, so to speak, and help those customers, but also listen to what they're saying around what they want in the business in that solution, and not immediately changing anything, but over time making sure that we build a seamless customer experience for the new customers in WorkflowMax 2.0.
Yeah, it's with software. This might be a question that you can't answer, but with these online solutions, the users expect regular and ongoing updates and maintenance. Is WorkflowMax, the existing 1.0 solution, going to kind of be in a holding pattern for the next year, or do they still have a support team behind them that will keep doing refinements, but maybe just on a light basis? But maybe a question that you can't answer.
Yeah, look, I don't have great knowledge around whether there'll be variations in the product, but I do know that Xero will support their customers right through the sunset. So I feel confident that between BlueRock and Xero, we'll have great support for the existing customers of WorkflowMax. We want to work really closely with those customers as well to understand where their frustrations are. I mean, we are technologists at heart, so we have developed software platforms in our own right before, and we understand this world of product roadmap and product innovation quite well. We understand that the customer's feedback is the most important piece of the DNA in terms of how you actually solve the frustrations that people have day to day and why they use SaaS platforms. So I think it's a question for Xero. But I feel confident as well that between BlueRock and Xero, the customers will be well supported.
Yeah, and I think that kind of goes to do we need to tell existing customers they need to stampede, or just chill, relax? Things will happen, and there will be a clear pathway to transition. And I think that's kind of the conversation that needed to happen there.
Yeah.
So
definitely the latter, Heather. It's chill and relax, and we will make sure that everyone's well looked after.
In terms of, you've said that you have built solutions in the past. Have you built? Has your team built solutions to the caliber and size of WorkflowMax?
We have two technology platforms that we've basically created from scratch, and they're sort of associated businesses, not necessarily developed as closely as WorkflowMax will be with BlueRock. To the size and scale, we certainly have helped clients with solutions of the size and scale of WorkflowMax, but in terms of the solutions that we've developed ourselves for businesses that we're involved with, they're less subscribers, but probably more sophisticated in terms of the technology. So one of them is a big data sort of AI platform that has a high degree of data engineering, data science, and AI enablement. And the other one is a registry platform that has tens of thousands of companies on it. So there's a depth of experience there. We feel very confident with the discussions we've had with Xero that we can help create WorkflowMax 2.0 in a way that the customer will go, this is great. But we also recognise and respect the fact that most technology users don't want to see wholesale changes. So the strategy is really around making sure that we service the existing need initially, listening to our customers and what they want, and then making sure that we actually evolve in a considered way that that doesn't disrupt people from how they want to use the technology.
Look, it's as I'm sort of a non-technologist layperson sitting on the outside, it's unusual that they don't sell you or don't sell someone the framework of WorkflowMax, but perhaps that's a sort of a blessing in disguise in that you can start with more modern software, more modern coding, and build from the ground up.
And you're spot on there, Heather. That is one of the silver linings of the whole transaction. Xero are incredible what they've done with WorkflowMax, but legacy systems are hard to change. So having the ability to sort of start with a clean slate, so to speak, is actually super beneficial, particularly with how quickly those tech stacks do change over time.
Yeah. Yes, absolutely. So with WorkflowMax 2.0, are there any big things in it that currently are not sitting in WorkflowMax that you envision? Do you plan to integrate it with other tech solutions in the market, such as document management? And what general ledgers will it play nicely with?
Sure.
Or what are you planning for it to play nicely with?
Yeah, so first and foremost, our commitment is really around making sure that every part of the functionality of WorkflowMax 1.0 is contained in WorkflowMax 2.0, brought to you by BlueRock. So we'll make sure that everything that's there exists. We'll obviously need to do a fair bit of work in terms of communicating with the other technology companies that we need to plug into. So there are many of them, and we want to make sure that we do play nice with all of those. So the plan is super clear in terms of making sure that the linkages are all there between those different platforms. In terms of the innovation, that'll largely be led by the customers and what they want. An area that everyone is talking about at the moment is generative AI and how that supports analysing data. We have a lot of experience in that world, so without knowing whether this will actually happen, because it's a week after the announcement. One of the things that I'm interested in exploring is understanding can we provide more functionality to our customers in terms of how they analyse data. But that's more me thinking about that than me actually actioning anything on the other end with our team to say, put this in the product roadmap. Our first priority, as it should be, is to make sure that the existing customers transition to the new platform and feel really happy about it. Then listen to them and effectively make changes that, they go, this is awesome. I'm really happy with what's happening.
You're singing the tune of proactive, active listening, which is one that I very much admire and one that I can fully get behind.
Great, thank you.
If we pull back to your origin story, where did the name BlueRock come from?
Sure. Well, it's a good question and an interesting story. So when we started BlueRock, we had two passions. One was the Carlton Football Club, and please, to your listeners, don't hold that against me, which is where the blue came from. And my favourite wrestler growing up, and this is an odd one, was Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. So we combined our love of Carlton with our love of The Rock, and BlueRock was created.
That wasn't where I was expecting this story to go.
Sorry.
Oh, that was completely unexpected. So have you managed to get Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson down to the offices?
No, we haven't, unfortunately. He's well beyond the BlueRock world, I think.
Oh, if you put sparkly magic out in the world, anything can happen.
True. Well, that's true. I agree with that.
It's funny because for my research, and this is what I was expecting you to come back with, blue represents communication, truth, vision, self-expression, learning, focus, insight and clarity.
Right.
So,
no, we are. I mean, at BlueRock, we do try and have fun. We are proud of the community we've built, and we are super passionate about enabling our business owner community with technology. So I think it's okay in life to sort of not conform and not be the same as everyone thinks you're going to be, as long as underneath you're delivering, a quality service. So the BlueRock origin story is a little bit unusual, but by the same token, I think it's also a good representation of how we think and the fun we like to have.
So you do have one of the most exciting accounting websites in Australia, if not the world. Why did you lead with such a funky and fun website? And look, I'm expecting probably you're going to tell me the impact. I'm interested to know what impact that has on potential clients, and I'm expecting you probably to say you're attracting entrepreneurial clients because of your website.
Yeah, that's right. Well, so I was an entrepreneur. I think I still am an entrepreneur, and we look after entrepreneurial business owners, and they are risk takers. They're people who have an idea and they do things that aren't rational to actually execute that idea, and then they work every day like it's their last. And the thing about the website and what we've tried to create with BlueRock is really a visualization of that belief system, that the entrepreneurs in the world want to look at everything they do differently. They want to experience life in a way that most people have never experienced. And so if they went to our website and they just saw another Deloitte or a Pitcher Partners or one of those sort of firms, I think they'd be underwhelmed. And so we've built a website that represents our clients, really.
So not just a green dot.
Correct. Not just a green dot. That's right.
My son works at Deloitte, so we love Deloitte. But
we love Deloitte too. We've got a good connection with Deloitte and plenty of people that have worked in both firms across the years. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I completely hear where you're coming from. Your accounting clients, I can completely get on board with the focus for them. The customers are entrepreneurial clients, but WorkflowMax 2.0. Those customers are not necessarily going to feel entrepreneurial or align with that entrepreneurial avatar. That's what I'm thinking. Do you think that? Some will, but then some won't.
It's a really good question. I've had a lot of people reach out to me since the announcement's been made from the small business community, and we're not all the same, and that is probably the wonderful thing about life. If we're all the same, it would be a pretty boring world we live in. So there's 10,000 business owners who are on WorkflowMax, and you're right. There will be some of those people that aren't super entrepreneurial. They use WorkflowMax for a different reason that fits in their life. And then there'll be some at the other end who are super entrepreneurial, and there'll be a whole lot in the middle that are just running their own small businesses. So it's not, I think you're right. Doesn't necessarily represent the full spectrum of the client base. What they will realize very quickly, and I know this to be true, is once they are working with us, they'll see a world of people who are super respectful, super humble, are willing to listen, and really just want to make life better. And I feel confident about that. I can talk to the CEO of BHP as comfortably as I can talk to mum and dad who run the corner milk bar, and I would treat both parties with equal respect. I would listen to what they have to say, and I'd work out how I can help. And that is the defining characteristics of how we like to approach what we do.
Awesome. Thank you for that, Peter. So, Peter, thank you for joining me on the Cloud Stories podcast. How can our listeners get in contact with you and register for updates?
Sure. So there's two ways. On Xero's website, there is a link that takes you to all the frequently asked questions about the transition from WorkflowMax. We've set up a website that you can go on and register your interest in terms of understanding the product roadmap and how things are going to evolve. And on the BlueRock website, you can also have a look at, the same sort of information around WorkflowMax 2.0 brought to you by BlueRock. I'm always available to speak to. So I've had plenty of people reach out via email and LinkedIn. Very happy to have the conversations. We've got a great team here, which we're building pretty quickly to help with all of this transition work. So there'll be plenty of people around that can support those clients as well. So there's multiple channels.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Peter, for joining us on the Cloud Stories podcast today.
Wonderful. Thank you, Heather.